The Winning Numbers, the Rachel Kennedy and Liam McCrohan story. Money had never been real to Rachel Kennedy, not in the way it was for most people her age. She was 19 years old, a business student at the University of Brighton, living the way most students live. Carefully, quietly, watching the balance on her account the way you watch a pot you're afraid will boil over. Rent, food, books, the occasional night out, if the numbers allowed it. She had the kind of relationship with money that most young people do, a perpetual negotiation between what you want and what you actually have. For Rachel, like most people, real money, the kind that changes things permanently, existed somewhere far away. In headlines, in those breathless stories about strangers whose lives split cleanly in two, before and after. It wasn't that she didn't dream. She did. She just never expected the dream to get close enough to touch. Her boyfriend, Liam McCrohan, was 21, an economics student. He was the kind of person who could break down a windfall before it arrived, the kind of mind that naturally runs the numbers, maps out the possibilities, works backwards from a fortune to a life. He and Rachel had been together long enough to fall into the comfortable rhythms of a shared life. The same jokes, the same routines, the same small rituals that accumulate over time into something that feels permanent. One of those rituals was the lottery. It had started simply enough. Rachel had set up a national lottery account online and enabled autoplay, one of those features designed to make the whole thing frictionless, invisible. You pick your numbers once, link your payment details, and the app does the rest. Every Friday evening, the same numbers go in automatically, pulled from whatever funds are sitting in the account. It's as effortless as a standing order. Her numbers were 6, 12, 22, 29, and 33, with lucky stars 6 and 11. She couldn't fully explain where all of them came from. Some were birthdays, family members whose dates she'd carried around her whole life. Others were vaguer than that, random clicks on a screen one afternoon, numbers that simply felt right in the way that numbers sometimes do for no defensible reason. But once they were chosen, they became fixed, sacred almost, in the low-key way that small rituals become sacred. She had been playing them for 5 weeks. Every Friday, the same question from Liam. Did you do the ticket? Every Friday, the same answer. Already done. They never really thought about it beyond that. The draw was on Friday, the 26th of February, 2021. The jackpot that night was £182 million, roughly $254 million at the time, one of the largest EuroMillions prizes in the competition's history. It had rolled over 5 consecutive times, ballooning with each passing week into something almost incomprehensible. For most players, a jackpot that large doesn't make the dream more vivid. It makes it more abstract, more fictional, further from the realm of things that happen to real people in real places. Rachel and Liam were at home in Hertfordshire. It was an ordinary Friday evening. At some point, Rachel picked up her phone. She almost didn't check the results that night. She has said as much since. But she remembered reading about a man who had called the lottery company to ask a question and accidentally discovered mid-conversation that he had won a substantial prize he hadn't even realized. The story made her laugh. She thought, why not, and opened the app. Her numbers were already there on the screen, saved and familiar. She tapped through to the results. The app interface changed color, orange. 2 words appeared, winning match. She has described that moment many times since, and the description is always the same. It didn't register at first. The brain resists it. You see the words, you see the numbers aligned perfectly on screen, and there's a fraction of a second where the meaning simply doesn't arrive. It's too large. It has nowhere to land. Then it landed. I went on the app and it said winning match, and I thought, oh my God, I've won, she later told The Sun. So I called my boyfriend Liam and my mom into the room, and they couldn't believe it either. Liam came in from the other room. Rachel's mother was brought into the moment by phone, the call cutting through the late evening quiet of wherever she was sitting. Rachel read the numbers out loud. Her mom went silent. Then, not silent at all. Liam stared at the screen. He had studied economics. He understood numbers. He understood what £182 million meant in real terms, not just as an abstraction, but as a material fact. And his mind, trained to model scenarios and project outcomes, immediately began doing exactly that. He has since admitted he had already started spending it in his head before he even fully processed the news. "I was already picturing our dream house and the dream car," he said later. "I think I was getting a bit carried away, to be fair." They talked over each other. They talked in circles. They talked about family, who they would help first, how much, what it would mean for people they loved who had struggled. They talked about houses, plural, cars, travel to places they had always listed in that private catalog of some days. The word that kept surfacing underneath all the specifics was freedom. The total, permanent, irrevocable kind. Rachel was laughing, not a normal laugh, a breathless, disbelieving laugh, the kind that comes when emotion has nowhere else to go. This is it, she thought. We're done. We're actually done. But Liam, even in the midst of it, felt something catch. He was an economics student. He knew that the space between apparent and confirmed was where most mistakes lived. He told Rachel to actually call the lottery and have a real person confirm it, not just an app, not just a screen with a color change and 2 words. Rachel hesitated. The screen looked official. The message looked official. Every number matched. Still, she called. The hold music was unbearable in the way that hold music always is when something important is at stake. Every second stretched. She sat on the edge of the bed, phone pressed to her ear, Liam watching from across the room with his arms folded, trying to look calm and failing. When the agent came on and asked for her details, Rachel gave them. There was typing on the other end. A pause. She felt her stomach tighten, not from doubt exactly, but from the peculiar vulnerability of waiting for someone else to confirm something you already believe to be true. "I can confirm those are indeed the winning numbers," the agent said. Rachel closed her eyes. Then the agent said, "I'm just going to check something else for you." Hold music again. Liam stepped closer. "What's going on?" "I don't know." The agent came back. "I'm really sorry." The words that followed have replayed in Rachel's mind many times since. Her ticket for the draw had not been successfully purchased. Her account at the time of the automated payment did not have sufficient funds. The app had attempted the transaction. It had failed. No valid ticket had been issued for the 26th of February draw. The winning match notification that appeared in orange on her screen, that was the app confirming that her saved numbers matched the draw result, a feature designed to show players how they would have done had they played. Without a confirmed purchase, it was information without consequence, a mirror with nothing behind it. Rachel sat very still. She told Liam. He blinked. "That doesn't. Check again." "I did. Call again." "It won't change anything." "No, no, no." He started pacing, and this time there was nothing in it that resembled excitement. He had been an economics student building a financial model in real time, and the model had just collapsed. "I was absolutely heartbroken when we heard the man on the phone say we hadn't actually bought the ticket," he said later. Heartbroken was the word he chose, and it is the right word. Not disappointed, not frustrated, heartbroken. Because you cannot be heartbroken about something you never had. The break requires the attachment, and they had attached fully to a life that had felt, for those minutes, completely and undeniably real. Rachel, by her own account, was more composed. She had been studying business. She processed it faster, shut it down faster, moved through it with something approaching pragmatism. Liam had spent it. She hadn't, not quite, not to the same degree, but she still felt it. "I was on top of the world when I thought I had won," she said, "but when I found out I hadn't, Liam was actually more upset than I was." What Camelot, the lottery operator, sent the couple in the aftermath was a message wishing them the best of luck in future draws. How had it happened? The National Lottery's online platform allows players to set up subscriptions, a standing arrangement where your chosen numbers are entered automatically into each draw, paid for from a stored card or account balance. It is a genuinely useful feature, the kind that removes friction and ensures you never accidentally miss a week. The problem is that it also removes the moment of active decision, the conscious, deliberate act of buying a ticket, and replaces it with something passive, ambient, easy to forget. Rachel's account had been set to autoplay, but at the moment of the draw on the 26th, the balance was insufficient to cover the ticket price. The system tried and failed. It did not, at that point, send an alert prominent enough to be noticed. It did not block her from seeing the draw result against her saved numbers. It simply noted the payment failure and moved on. Rachel has since said she had been snowed under with uni work in the days leading up to the draw, the kind of ordinary busyness that makes it easy to lose track of a small account balance you're not actively monitoring. £2, that's what a EuroMillions entry cost. £2 stood between where they were and £182 million. Later, Liam posted about it on Twitter. He had around 120 followers at the time, a small, ordinary audience. His tweet read, "When your missus decides not to play the EuroMillions and all 7 of her usual numbers come up." He attached a screenshot of the notification on the app, the winning match displayed in orange. It went viral. By the time the story had run its course across the internet, his post had gathered more than 31,000 likes. News outlets picked it up: The Sun, Lad Bible, Lottery Post, Hard FM, and dozens of others across multiple countries. Within days, Rachel Kennedy and Liam McCrohan were not just 2 students from Hertfordshire. They were a story, a cautionary tale, a symbol of something people couldn't stop talking about because the numbers, 5 weeks of playing, a payment of a few pounds, a jackpot that had rolled over 5 times, were simply too cruel to ignore. Rachel was too embarrassed to post anything herself. She let Liam carry the story. The jackpot was eventually claimed by a winner in Switzerland, a stranger. A different set of circumstances, a different account, a different bank balance on a different Friday night. Someone whose app confirmation screen said winning match and whose payment had gone through. Someone who, presumably, had their own sleepless night of disbelief, their own breathless conversations with family, their own private collapse into a completely new life. Rachel and Liam have never found out who that person was. They never will. After the story broke, Rachel changed her numbers. She said she believed the old ones, 6, 12, 22, 29, 33, lucky stars 6 and 11, were unlucky now, which is a logic that makes no mathematical sense and a profound amount of human sense. "I've never won anything before," she said. "We've just got the worst luck when it comes to stuff like this." They were both still students. They went back to their degrees: economics, business, the ordinary calculations of ordinary lives. There is something about this story that refuses to settle. It isn't just the money, although the money is staggering enough, the kind of sum that could rewrite not just 2 lives, but the lives of everyone around them for generations. It's the particular shape of what happened. They did everything right. They chose their numbers. They set up the account. They played every week. The numbers they picked, out of all the possible combinations, out of all the weeks they could have come up, came up in the 5th week of playing in a draw whose jackpot had rolled 5 times into the hundreds of millions. They were right. The math said yes. The universe said yes. The app, briefly, cruelly, said yes. Only the bank account said no. And in the end, in the architecture of how this works, the bank account is the only thing that counts. There are no near misses in the lottery. There is only one and not one, ticket and no ticket. The distance between the two is not 5 numbers or 7 numbers, or however many lines of symmetry you can draw between what appeared on Rachel's screen and what appeared on the draw board that Friday night. The distance is £2 and an account balance and a payment that didn't clear. Liam said something, weeks later, that Rachel has never been able to shake. "We didn't lose," he told her. "Yes, we did," she said. He shook his head. "No, losing means you never had a chance. We had it." He was right. That's the part that makes it so hard. They were the couple who got every single number right in a jackpot worth £182 million after only 5 weeks of playing, and came away with nothing but a viral tweet and a lesson about checking their bank balance. Somewhere in Switzerland, someone else is living the life that, for a few minutes on a Friday night in Hertfordshire, felt like it belonged to them.